Oh, great. Doing this again. Here we go. Welcome to Requiem for a Tuesday. I am Adam Pecora, and nothing ever gets better, ladies and gentlemen. Hope is for the stupid. There is nothing to look forward to. You're born without anything. I didn't ask to be this being in this place where all that ever happens is pain and misery. I mean, what more can anyone say? I mean, I'm sorry. There's just nothing. First of all, there's nothing else for me to talk about, and there's nothing that I think about more right now. There's nothing in my mind that I can possibly even shift it to. Like, I'm just devastated. I'm just devastated. And I don't even have the energy. Like, last week, I very clearly was fired up to come on here and scream and just vent and get it out. But, like, I'm here today beaten and dejected. You know, sidebar, part of that is from literally being beaten up. Also why I have a little bit less to say. Got my ass kicked at Riot Fest this weekend. Look, just as inconvenient of a festival as you'll ever find. Where is it? It's in a park you've never heard of. Why? How do you get there? Not easily. Bunch of cool stuff around there. It's run down. Awesome. Like, I get it for them. You know? Yeah, throw it in there. This park is huge. It covers all the land we need. And this area is poor, so we can just get away with it. I get it. Very inconvenient, though. Horrible location. Took about 90 minutes to get home Saturday night. Was not ideal. Shout out to the Mexicans, though. They were going hard. Not at Riot Fest. It was Independence Day. Yeah. Nothing too eventful there. I will say I got gouged by the food vendor. They had, you know, they claim to be like a carnival, and they have like shitty rides you'll find at any like town fair. Whatever. You know, it's a nice touch, I guess, but they crank up the price. So who is this for? I don't really know. But anyway, to coincide with that, they had a row of like carnival foods. You know, you get your bucket of fries and your gallon of lemonade, and, you know, you get sick and you die. So I get in the line. I say, look, I always complain about how you can't get a fucking turkey leg anywhere, and you really should be able to. It makes a whole lot of sense. They're cheap, and they're delicious, and they're very filling. All wins. I get up there, and he says, that'll be $25. Plus a $5 fee for using a card. It's just like, I know how easy mobile payment is. You know what I mean? Like, Square has been a thing since like iPod touches were rampant everywhere. It was before streaming existed. You could get a little thing to run cards. Doesn't charge you $5 per transaction. I know that for a fact as well. So I don't know, like, just charge $5 more, frankly. You know, I thought, I got fleeced. I ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. Little did I find out there's not really any menu. Everything is $25 or the sides are 20. Unbelievable, frankly. Like if they had like a long corn dog. You want a long corn dog? $25. You want nachos? $25. Unreasonable, frankly. Like, is this a one percenters convention? How much could a banana cost? $20? Like, are you serious? Anyway. Next day, got a burrito, half the price. Literally was $15. Can tolerate that. That's a slight markup. That's fine. That I am expecting at this thing. Not, yeah, we tripled it. Insane. And then it was very clear as to why the prices were not marked. Anyway, got all smushed up during death grips, and I am still sore today. And then I got physically crushed seeing one of my favorite musical acts possible. Top 3. Yeah, top 3 overall. Top 2 band. Anyway. Physically crushed during that. And then emotionally crushed on Sunday. Watching my favorite team. Number 1 across all channels. And they're the worst. They're the worst one. They're the worst one. Look, there's a mix of a lot. I'm back into it. I needed the tangent. One, I had to hit the bong right before I started. So that tangent was a little bit of that. But I needed the stress relief. I needed to get it off. I need to talk about something else for 1 second. It hurts that I have to do this. You know, I don't want this. I don't want this. And I literally, like I said, because I was doing things, had nothing else to watch. I wanted to maybe try to get a movie in that would somehow be so compelling that it would propel me to not want to talk about the Bears, but I can't. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to me. I'm sorry to this entire city. Look, just nobody gets it, okay? Everybody wants to keep blaming ownership. I'm sorry. Ryan Poles hired these people. Now, you want to blame them for hiring Ryan Poles? Everybody said it was a good move. Look, if it wasn't a good move, so be it. Now, it's all up to Kevin Warren. That's who they gave the reins to. He's the president. That was unanimously a good hire. Okay? So if he wants to get rid of Poles, then I trust him. If he doesn't, then I trust him. We'll give Poles another chance. Maybe. Because the thing is, he still hired Eberflus. The guy can't do it. I'm sorry. The coordinator wasn't there for personal reasons. I don't know if I buy that those reasons were personal. Maybe. Could have just been the atrociousness. If something bad happened to the man, then I apologize. Either way, it's better that he's not there. Frankly. He's not good. And the defense played better with Eberflus calling it. Still not good at all. Busted coverages across the board. No pressure. Dialed up some blitzes at least. But they didn't get anywhere. So we got diced. It's a miracle that they were even in the game. Had to block a field goal. Yeah. Nothing great there. Eberflus hires Getsy. Getsy's a hack. So he hired both of his coordinators. They're both terrible. As I said about the scheme, look, scheme's not good. If this team is that bad at running it, then it's the wrong scheme. So no matter what, shouldn't be running it. Justin Fields is not good. He holds the ball forever for no reason. Like the rush gets there too quick. most of the time. But there was times when it's like, oh, the blitz got picked up. This is right when you would throw it, like no matter what. And then you would even look, and then there would be a guy open. Like I had the time to be like, I saw the blitz get picked up, and then I looked at the receiver, throw. And then you look back at Justin Fields, and he's not. And then the rush gets through, and then he gets sacked. It's regressed. It's all regressed backwards. For some reason, even though they switched the offense to be about running, all they did was switch it back, and all summer they undid all the progress, apparently, and they just switched it back, and they're like, it's week 1 of last year again. We're going to do that right this time. That's insane. It makes no sense. You already know it didn't work. Just because you added one receiver and a backup tight end, like, doesn't mean you go back. Like, they threw it to DJ Moore, and guess what? He was open and caught it, and it worked out great. And he was visibly frustrated on multiple plays where he's just standing in the middle of the field, and there's a sack. Like, why is 3 of those sacks 100% could have been avoided? And it's probably 5 of them if we actually went back and looked. Just disgusting. And it's the coach's fault for making it worse. But it's not going to happen. You know? Unless they fire the coordinator now. Like, you know what I mean? And just maybe there's some hope of something. But guess what? You fire the coordinator. Who's running the offense? Because the coach can't. Because they hired a defensive guy again. And that's on polls. Why'd he do that? I saw somebody today was like, Jim Caldwell came in and had this huge plan about building the offense around Justin Fields, and they chose to sign to someone else. Now, my only counter, I have 2 counters to that, actually, not only. Number 1, you can't bring that up now if you didn't heavily criticize the hiring to begin with and say that they should have gone with that guy. To bring it up, anyone who's bringing that's the biggest negative, is all of the reports now are how everybody sucks, which they do clearly suck. But the reason why the fan hype, what was high going in, was because of all the reporting about how great everything was going. And how this was a good hire. Maybe not initially. I definitely remember reading reports of like, hey, good track record. We don't know, obviously. First-time coach. You never really know in that situation. But there wasn't a ton of criticism like, who's this guy? Why would they hire him? This makes no sense. There was a ton of like optimism, albeit admittedly questionable. Not in a negative sense questionable. Just unknown. But it was positive, and there wasn't like, they blew it already. So that just irks me. Like, we were misled by everyone, including the media, who is now claiming that they were misled. Report what you see. Anyway, the other counter to that is Ryan Poles knows, and he's playing 4D chess here. And he knew everything would suck. And he knew Fields wasn't the guy the whole time. The thing is, he also knew Bryce Young wasn't the guy. And he's saying, hey, I have 2 first-round picks next year. I'm just going to let this team suck for 2 years. Let's double tank it, and I'm going to get Caleb Williams. And we'll clean house. And who knows? Maybe they'll hire fucking Lincoln Riley to be the coach. Maybe it'll go that deep. Maybe it's that deep of a plan. And we're playing for Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. back-to-back picks. Or maybe, there's some other standout tackle or something. And we flip everything in one draft. Which would be the greatest thing that ever happened also. Super down for that. Which is why that's probably not the plan. And that would be too brilliant. Although, if I'm Kevin Warren, they're going to get demolished by the Chiefs. Demolished. Like, the season is over already. And if they go 0-4, I mean, that's what, 16 straight losses? I mean, how many games in a row do you need to lose? This is the worst team in the history of the Chicago Bears. It's unbelievable. And they got worse at everything. Last year, everyone knew the roster was replacement level, but they fought and were in every game just about somehow. They were well coached and played well, and that all went to shit. It's Nagy year 2. It's Trestman year 2. John Fox was always dog shit. I didn't even watch those teams. You know, they all went backwards. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense. I just don't even understand it. So unless it's all intentional, which it's not, that's the only silver lining is Caleb Williams. But if it's Caleb Williams with Eberflus and Getsy, I mean, we're going to ruin that guy too. He's a generational talent, supposedly. So that's my only out is for Poles. Otherwise, like, he doesn't know what he's doing either. Because the Claypool trade, I mean, a nightmare, an objective, absolute disaster. Even when it happened, everybody was like, there's no reason for him to have this much value, just period. And it's only gotten worse. It's like, yeah, he responded from an objectively, like, horrific, he should be cut game to he played like an NFL player and still wasn't. You know what I mean? Where they have to highlight that he made regular effort. It's like, that's not necessarily what I'm looking for here, you know? Oh, good for him. He actually tried this week. It's like, okay. Everybody should have been doing that the whole time. So, I don't know. Like, and now the run game just doesn't exist and doesn't work either. At least we ran for like 3,000 yards. It was like an unbelievable... Like, the volume was way too high. I get all that criticism and all that, but it worked. Like, it was successful. That's not even a thing now. Everything is just inept and broken. It looks just like Matt Nagy's offense. It's the same thing. And they do the cute little fucking screen. Levante David said after the game, he was like, the second they came with that look, we knew what the play was. Like, even if it wasn't going to be a pick, like, that play was getting blown up. Like, there was no chance of success there. They're not doing their job. And if the coaches keep coming up to the podium after and talking about execution, listen, what you're trying to do there is blame the players, and even if the players, again, I said this last week, even if they didn't execute, it's your job to get them to execute. So you failed them by them failing. And if they're not doing it, it's because either your scheme sucks, right? Meaning you suck, like, or they shouldn't be run, like, you know what I mean? Or it's not the right scheme for them and you need to adjust it. Like, adjust their role in whatever. If it's too complicated for them, you need to simplify it. If somebody's not doing something right, you need to correct it. If they don't correct it, you need to bench them. You know what I mean? Then get somebody in there who would. You think the whole team's so fucking talented, so you say. And the other silver lining for Poles that I can maybe give him is the Nate Davis thing looked like it was a disaster. Apparently what's been going on the entire time has been a family thing that then just culminated in a loss. Tragic. I don't know if tragic is the right, whatever. Point is, he's been going through a lot personally. So we can give the benefit of the doubt there for that. My condolences to him and his family. Still could have, outside of that, still could end up being a disaster of a hire, or signing, sorry. But there's a chance that that could be righted in some way. It's just bleak. It's just bleak. There are zero positives really out of that. Tremaine Edmonds is terrible. He's terrible. He's on the ball all the time, but he didn't make one. I'm not going to say this definitively, but he didn't make like one solid tackle. He hit a lot of guys and was the first guy there, but they bounced right off of him. And good thing somebody was there for cleanup, but he's the star guy. Wrap the fuck up. I mean, I just don't even. Where is TJ Edwards on the field? What is this team? It looks like they're this bad intentional. Like you can't. Like take the Cardinals for example. They all word was that they were a fucking fire sale and they gutted their team to tank, and it seemed like tanking the way that game ended against my beloved New York Giants, who are probably awful and only going to win 6 games this year. It's a miracle that they pulled that out, but they were playing like competent football with the guy who's been on the team for 2 fucking weeks. So it's on somebody for Justin Fields, and I don't care who it is, even if it's him. You can't act like it's part of any fucking process, man. He's in his 3rd year, 2 years in a row in the scheme. You guys don't have fucking excuses. Stop with the excuses. Go out there and say you failed. At least admit to something. Because he should not be able to do that. He shouldn't have. I don't care how bad the Giants are. They're better than the Bears. So even if they lost that game, they went up and put up 28 on them like it was fucking nothing. Okay? With a team that's supposed to be dog shit. Against a team that's supposed to be good, too, in the Giants. Like, the Cardinals should not have won that game, and they didn't, but they shouldn't have done what they did at all. You know? The Bucs just plug in Baker Mayfield one offseason. As they showed the graphic, he had fucking 7 offensive coordinators in 7 years. That guy has been put through a fucking ringer worse than Justin Fields. He can do some basic stuff. He showed it. You know, and this is his best situation he's ever been on. And he looked great against the Bears. Doesn't mean a thing. I get it for him. But either way, I mean, these other people can just do basic things. Other than Zach Wilson, who is also, he's just terrible. I don't think there's anything anyone could do for that guy. That just unfortunate, really. I can't really say anything else there. He's the worst quarterback I've ever seen. I think. Honestly. Like, outside of guys who never were supposed to play that get into games, which I don't think counts, somebody who was this high of a draft pick, I mean, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. But, you know, Justin Fields just has too much pure talent. If everybody's talking about how slow his drop back is now, how is this not addressed sooner? Like, now you're talking about it? I mean, is that a new thing? Is that... Stop. If that's his fault, how have you not corrected it by now? If you know what I mean, just stop. Stop. Everything should have... We're way too far past little technique bullshit that you think he's going to correct. Like, it's just not going to happen. So don't even bring it up. It just makes me mad. You're like, oh, we think we found the issue or whatever, or what's going on here. Go back. If it was happening before, then fuck you for not know. You know what I mean? I just can't even. I can't bring myself. It's over. It's over. I'm sorry. I wasn't able to finish one thought for probably 10 straight minutes there, it felt like. But it's just over. Everybody. The Chicago Bears are dead. And listen, ownership, there's the thing that happened with Nagy where it's like they don't fire people. I don't care. Kevin Warren, if he's truly in charge, fire these fucking people. If they hit 17 straight losses, so what, it was 11 in a row last year. So I think they're at 14 now. Or, I'm sorry, 13 now. It's guaranteed to be 14 with the Chiefs. I'm just already counting it as 0-3. if they end up at 0-15, 0-16, I mean, fire everybody, clean house, and give polls maybe till the end of the season if you want. I don't know. I don't see what that would do. Hire an offensive guy no matter what. Eric Bieniemy maybe would be nice this time around. Maybe hire Jim Caldwell. I don't give a fuck. No more defensive guys and no more random offensive guys that are maybe the thing. I want real. You know who I actually want? I was thinking about this yesterday. My real answer, my ideal next head coach of the Bears would be Ben Johnson, I believe is his name, the offensive guy from Detroit. Sean McVay made Jared Goff into a guy, and then he sucked for Sean McVay. And then this guy in Detroit, they built a team and a system in which Jared Goff is now better than he has ever been. And they had to rebuild, and they did it in 2 years, and he was there, and it's great. Just kind of seems like he really knows what he's doing. Now, I know that they paid him a bunch to stay as an OC, but that's not going to last. So if this offense stays remotely similar as it seems like it's going to, that's who I would love. That is my number one choice. Now, if Caleb Williams actually becomes realistic, if that is a thing, maybe that's not the right move and they need to hire, I don't know. Whatever. But get someone who will build an offense around the pieces, not fucking fit the square pegs in the round holes. It just doesn't football should be past that anyway. Like, that's what I don't get, that we're still fucking doing that archaic bullshit. You should be smart enough to know that that's not how you should build your team. The scheme isn't first. Build the scheme around the players. Whatever. So, I'm already looking at the offseason next year. There's no reason why any free agents should want to sign with us unless there are significant changes. I predict that the locker room is going to collapse. If the Chiefs, I mean, we're kind of lucky that the Chiefs don't really have their shit together, because if they were clicking on all cylinders, depending on how bad the Chiefs' loss ends up, like, the team could fall apart already. If that game's like 45-6 or something, the locker room might collapse right then and there. But once we hit 0-4, 0-5, I mean, it's over. It was over by the second quarter of the Green Bay game. The entire team was dejected and done with it. I imagine Justin Fields is giving up also. I don't think he wants to, but I think it's like Trubisky with Nagy, or even Nick Foles with Nagy visibly being seen on the sideline being like, the offense is broken. Everybody was aware the offense was broken, and everybody just kept continuing to say that they needed to work harder. And you know what I mean? It's like, we need guys who are just going to step to the podium and, like, make fucking headlines at this point. Like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Why do you need to preserve anything with any relationships here? Burn these bridges, bro. Just come out and be like, these coaches don't know shit. Call them the fuck out. Let's at least make it entertaining. Hopefully I will have some better things to talk about next week. I'm sure. Ideally, the Bears will just be a small segment, if anything. I would like to get back to a traditional sports corner where I can actually talk about football at large, but it's just been too difficult. I sprinkled it in a little bit this week, but I'd like to invert that. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to promise anything because, frankly, everything that I thought has been shaken up already this year, and I don't know what to think, and my head's spinning and my heart's broken. So it's kind of going to remain the same. Rate, review, and subscribe to Requiem for a Tuesday. I really appreciate it. The numbers have been looking great. Please continue to share these episodes, and thank you. I don't know what else to say. Everything's linked in the description below. Check it out. I very much appreciate it. Gonna go watch some Monday Night Football. that'll, be a little bit more competent than what I'm used to seeing from my team. And remember, I are fat, you are fat, we are fat. Calculator.